Through 13 weeks and with 5 games remaining, your team is number 1 in the AFC.
Yeah.
Your reaction to that?
Call me when it's a 13-game season, and I'll be excited to talk about the next game.
Mike McDaniel trying to keep things in perspective, and if you watched Hard Knocks this week, in the run-up to the game against the Commanders, he was talking a lot about how the Dolphins were 8-3 last year and went on to lose 5 in a row before winning their final game of the season, making it to the postseason, and going one and done. You could tell he was very happy about getting to 9-3. So he is paying attention to the bigger picture, but there's an even larger picture. They have to avoid stepping into a trap that causes them to start losing games. He lived through it last December. He's bracing for it and hoping to avoid it this December, and I think they will. Yeah. I don't think they're about to go on a protracted losing streak, mainly because they have games coming up that they should win, starting with Monday night, the doubleheader at the same time. It's not even a doubleheader. It's a simultaneous Monday night game. Packers-Giants, Titans-Dolphins. I don't like it. I don't think you like it. They didn't ask us. Not that they ever would, ever could, or ever should. But it'll be Titans-Dolphins, and they should get to 10-3. It would be a surprise if they don't.
No, it would be. I mean, we know Miami is really good, right? Yeah, last year they fell apart in December. Lost to the 49ers, you remember that? Lost to the Chargers, lost to the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo. Then there was the Christmas Day game with Tua. He got hit in the head, right? Threw some bad second-half interceptions to make us question that whole process once again. Then they lose the next week with the backup quarterback. So, yeah, this is a month of proving something to themselves. And, with the Miami Dolphins, you always talk about, right, cold weather games, stuff like that. Are they going to be able to handle all of that? I know they got no real issues on their schedule other than that Baltimore. But the point I was going to get to with Miami and
they have the Cowboys. The Cowboys come to town too.
But the cold weather, I was saying, because they got the Cowboys at home, right? I was trying to Ravens are the only cold weather game. All good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was half listening.
Yeah,
4 of their final 5 games are at home.
Yes,
which is a big plus.
Right, it is. It's a big plus because we know how good they are down there on that fast track down on in South Florida. But I don't, we know they're good. Back to the point I'm trying to make here, it's how good. It's just it's rare to be this far into a season, right, and go, wow, a team that's sitting here at 9-3 doesn't really have a, in quotes, big time win the whole season. And that's where it's rare. So that's what I think our last piece of the puzzle is with Miami is just, how good, how gritty are they? And, how can they finish out this season, I think, which will take some gritty wins, and we'll learn a lot about them before the playoffs start here in December.
I mean, barely beat the Chargers to start the season,
right.
Beat the Patriots, who we'll talk about in a minute, by only a touchdown. Then came the 50-point blowout over the Broncos. Then the huge loss, 48-20 at Buffalo, that caused everyone to wonder,
right,
what is this team all about? What is it going to be? So as we get down the stretch, it is the Titans, the Jets, the Cowboys, at the Ravens, and then they finish with a game against the Bills. And that is not going to be an easy game because the Bills quite possibly will need that game to get into the postseason. Given the way things are currently tracking, I doubt the Bills are going to be mathematically eliminated going into Week 18, and the Dolphins presumably will still be playing for the number 1 seed. That game at Baltimore stands out, though. New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Something Eve. New Year's Eve, 12/31, Week 17. That stands out as the biggest game yet, although it is one game after the Cowboys on Christmas Eve go to South Florida. So the last 3 games, not going to be easy. The next 2, okay. Then we get into the final rush, and can they hold it together, and can they capture the 1 seed? And that's a huge, the home field advantage isn't as much of an advantage as it used to be week in and week out. But if you're talking about the Dolphins staying home for the postseason versus the Dolphins,
it feels like it's bigger this year.
To Kansas City.
Yeah.
To have that, to get the week off, and to have that benefit, especially if you're the Dolphins, to play those big games in your stadium, it's far more significant than it's been in past years
No,
for them.
definitely.
And we've yet to see Patrick Mahomes leave Arrowhead Stadium in a playoff game, which it's just amazing as well. We talked yesterday about that Chiefs-Dolphins Christmas Day game, 1971, triple overtime. Maybe there's a Chiefs-Dolphins classic looming in the postseason.
Well, it's a gift from the schedule gods that they got 4 of their last 5 games in December at home. And to your point with home field advantage, yeah, we've seen that it's maybe not as big a deal. This is a year where, you can look at it and go, I think we can find 3 teams that are in the conversation for home field advantage where it is a big deal to them. We know the 49ers, the records, the numbers, the stats show us they're better at home. They've lost 2 games in the last 2 years at home. The Chiefs last year, the Bengals this year. The Dallas Cowboys, that's all we talk about, what they are. So that it's big for them. And then, of course, Miami. Yeah, Miami being at home, not having to go on the road and play, like you said, Kansas City in the cold weather, Baltimore maybe again in the cold weather, right? Big advantage for them. It's an advantage, too, because when you go down to South Florida early January, it actually works in their favor, as is, the vice versa of, Miami's got to go to the cold in December and January. Now, wait, team that's been in the cold, whoa. We're here in a 4-quarter game, and it's a little hotter than we're used to. We're not used to playing in 80-degree weather here in the middle of January. We're from Baltimore. We're from Kansas City. That'll help them as well. It'll wear teams out. It'll test their, conditioning. So there are some positives, certainly, about Miami winning out and winning home field to what you're saying, Mike.
The 3 losses against 3 good teams. The Bills were a great team at the time it happened, and we don't have that signature victory yet for the Miami Dolphins. Still waiting for it. The first opportunity comes at home, Week 16 against the Cowboys, and then another opportunity 1 week later at the Ravens. And hell, for all we know, the Bills are going to be 10-6 when that Week 18 game rolls around. So again, 3 tough ones. If they're going to get the top seed, they're going to earn it down the stretch, and we'll see. Maybe Mike McDaniel wishes it was a 13-week season so he could just cash out now as the 1 seed and move on to the postseason. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.